And Z goes, like, super chill.
It's like, bam.
It's like,
You're right there.
Yeah. What's really weird is when someone sends me or tags me on Instagram and it's like, oh my God, I saw your logo. And it's like in the one that was in Nashville somewhere.
oh, wow.
Yeah.
And then there was another one that we placed somewhere that someone sent us a tag and said, we saw your logo.
Yeah,
And then
in
we
Texas.
yeah.
The fun is if people saw your logo, you had almost like a little competition. If you see it out in the wild, you send them a little bit of swag or something.
Yeah, that would
I
be
know.
cool.
Well, we're more than willing to do that. Actually, we've told several people, just send us your address. We'll shoot you a logo. We have no problem.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's cool.
We're actually getting ready to do some new ones. We want to do one in her new bike color.
Okay.
And then I want to do one in my bike color. And then we'll do one in yellow. And then she wants to do a hologram one, which is going to be pretty cool.
Mhm.
And then we actually I'm actually looking for someone who does shirts and hats because I have some shirt ideas, which I won't say since we're technically kind of live right now.
Sure.
But I have some shirt ideas that I think are going to be pretty catchy. And I want to put, just the stuff on the front that I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then just our logo right on the little back, of it. And just that little logo. So,
Subtle.
yeah.
Yeah.
You ready?
Are we ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Good show, everyone.
Coming to you from the Poorly Painted Studios in Cumming, Georgia, this is the Chuck and Z Show. And now, here's Chuck and Z.
God, I love that intro.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the beat. And then obviously the voiceover is amazing.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Welcome to the show, everybody. The Chuck and Z Show. Of
Yes.
course, I'm Chuck.
I'm Z. And we have a special guest today, Travis Benz, who is a restaurant owner and also a motorcyclist.
Yeah, all around good dude. What's up, Travis?
Well, I appreciate that intro. I don't know how I'm going to follow that up, but thank you guys. Thank you guys for having me. This is a beautiful studio, by the way.
Oh,
Thank
thank you.
you.
Just full disclosure. This is, for those of you who aren't physically here, this is absurd.
Oh, thank you.
You know?
It's a little bit of work. It's a little bit of work.
Yeah, you've done some things.
Put some time in here cussing, yelling, screaming,
Yeah.
stuff not wanting to stay where it's supposed to be.
Not
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
Right.
I do. Although you can't see it, I'm gonna put a picture up. The sword has made it
Sword.
to the studio. It is now, and it's now in its final position. That is the David Carradine sword that I found in Blue Ridge. Super excited about it. I can't. If I keep it down, I'll keep playing with it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
He wants to do all kinds. He actually wants to take sword lessons.
I do.
So that he can actually be, a legit samurai warrior.
Well, and I mean this with all due respect, but could you get any more bad you know what without having that sword? Like, come on now.
Yeah, no. It's funny. When I was younger, I had an opportunity to take weapons forms, and I never did. I always liked them, but I just never did. I was like, oh no, I just want to be able to use my hands.
Mhm.
But the older you get, the cooler it looks. Like I want that old grizzled veteran carrying a sword around.
Sure.
I'm not gonna be carrying a sword around.
Well,
You're not
think
going
you
to strap one?
If the apocalypse happens, which may be on its way, I'd like to have some sword skills.
All right.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, man. Like, when it comes to swords, I don't think there's any way not to, like, I don't know. For me personally, I look at them and I'm a big Kill Bill guy.
Oh yeah.
Like, obviously, based off of, like, and for the record, like, you showed me your whole man cave upstairs, and for those of you listening, and I'm not trying to, like, go too in depth, but I mean, this dude and, Chuck and Z, they have like the coolest, Goodfellas and Kill Bill, and you're a big, like, Bruce Lee guy too, right?
Yeah.
How did you get into Bruce Lee, if you don't mind me asking? Because I'm a big nerd on Bruce.
So I've been in martial arts since I was real little, and I was smaller when I was younger, and I always kind of admired Bruce Lee. Someone showed me a film on Enter the Dragon. First time I ever saw it.
Classic.
Blew my mind. Right. As it did everybody's.
Absurd.
Right. And then you realize that, I don't realize later that he had passed away actually before that movie came out. So this guy didn't even, I was born in 76. So this
Right.
guy was before my time.
Yeah.
Right.
But as I progressed in my martial arts career, I just became obsessed. I watched everything you can imagine with Bruce Lee in it, all the way back to whenever he was a kid acting in the black and white movies with his father, which is crazy. I mean, I've been obsessed since I was little. And then the best part about it is my friends and I, who were also in martial arts, we had nothing else to do in the country. We'd watch Bruce Lee movies,
Yeah.
right? Like 4 of us. And then my brothers would get involved in this. We'd watch these movies till like 3 a.m. in the morning, hopped up on like Coca-Cola and other stuff like that, just sugar, and then go out in the yards and just beat the hell out of each other trying to be Bruce Lee.
Of course.
And I just
the only
always
thing you can
admired
do.
that. I just always admired the guy who was just, I liked the swag, the confidence, the technical prowess. But most of all, I
The
liked
innovation.
That's what
You know
I was,
what I mean?
That's
Like,
100%.
yeah.
I mean, the
That's
older
100%.
you get, the more you realize.
Be like
you know,
water, my friends.
That's right.
You know?
The very first mixed martial artist.
Right.
And-
Yeah, truly. Truly. I mean, I think even on like the UFC games, right? Like they're like, we got to throw this dude in here. We don't even know what he would have done in like true
Yeah.
modern day combat or whatever. Not to get off topic. I apologize.
No, we
but,
can talk
like,
about whatever you want to talk
you know
about.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, it's Bruce. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? He
Right.
transcends. You know, you only
100%.
get one MJ, you only get one Bruce, one Muhammad, and so on and so forth.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, hell,
Yeah.
he threw an armbar in Enter the Dragon.
Yeah,
That's
he did.
the
Yeah,
first
100%.
armbar anyone had seen. Now the guy got out of it by like biting or something. I don't know.
yeah.
Biting him?
I mean, you just snap
Classic.
the arm. You just snap the arm at that
Classic.
point. Right?
That sounds like a
Right.
Tyson move.
Right. That was before jiu-jitsu.
That was before jiu-jitsu.
Right.
Before everybody knew about jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. Yeah.
What did you think? So, being real quick,
Go ahead.
being in martial arts,
Yeah.
you know, I started out in Taekwondo,
Sure.
and then I did a little Hapkido, and then I did like this guy I knew taught some combat, like takedown judo type of stuff, and that's all I knew.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then when the UFC came out, and I remember I was with that guy, he like wanted to show us. His name was Curtis, Sensei Curtis. He was like, I want to show you, you know, this tape. And I remember watching it and just not understanding what was going on at first. These are guys that I read about. Like
Right.
these are high level black belts.
Yep.
Curling up in the fetal position and getting strangled by this guy. And it looks like the guy's losing at first.
Yep.
And I remember thinking, oh no, I just spent all this time learning how to do this.
Right.
And now
Just to realize
that I don't know anything. And then you couldn't find it. No one was teaching it back then.
Yeah.
it seems like, and not to like, you know, interject in any way, but like, and it seems like that's the start of every big first gen MMA guy, right?
Mhm.
Like, oh, what the heck is going on? These Shamrock days, these, you know, Hoist Gracie days, these like this little dude, you know, or these guys that were like smoking cigarettes and
Mhm.
like just
Yes.
beating the hell out of whomever.
Tank
and,
Abbott. That
you know,
dude.
Tank Abbott. Like, and,
Yeah.
and a lot of people forget too, like they fought not just one fight that day.
Like
right?
multiple.
Yeah. Like they just kept going and going and going. And you're like, just the endurance alone.
Yeah.
You know? So no, I mean, every huge, like I call it first gen MMA fans, right?
Yeah.
Like they're the ones that like got this thing on VHS that somebody's cousin's uncle's dog gave them.
Mhm.
And then they just started collecting them, and then it was like an addiction, right? And this is like back in the Pride and all these days.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Pride.
you know, right?
Just
right?
a bunch of steroid freaks
Oh,
just banging it
total
out.
freaks.
It's like they encouraged it. It's like in your
Randleman,
contract, you
yeah.
must be doing steroids.
Just run gear, like no cutters, just get as big as possible.
And then they would like have the most insane fights, like a guy that outweighs the other guy by like 200 pounds.
Yeah.
And you're like, let's see what happens, y'all.
Yeah, yeah. And the odd thing, I think the thing that made it most exciting, right, for like people that are, you know, mixed martial arts fans is like more often than not, outside of the Hammer Colemans, like the little guys kind of won
Yeah.
off
Usually.
technicality. And that's what got people so into it, right?
Right.
Like they're like, how is that dude or whatever, right? Like, well, I think at the time it was just mainly
It was
dudes,
just mainly,
right?
It was mainly guys.
Because
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
didn't like Ronda
Ronda was the
everybody
first
kind of
one.
yeah, she was kind of like the matriarch, if you will. But
Mhm.
well, actually, Kat Zingano, right? Like, but
Well, I mean, there was technically before the UFC, there was women's mixed martial arts. You had
Yeah.
Chris Cyborg, you
Right,
had
Cyborg,
Gina
yeah.
Carano.
yeah, Karana
which,
was no joke.
You know, I've admitted before, I used to have a massive crush on Gina
Totally,
Carano.
she's a
when
babe.
I mean, she was
Total babe.
she was at the time. She
Yeah.
was hot.
Yeah. How
You
dare-
said Gina Carano got a nice butt. You
Right,
told me that
right.
before.
Yeah,
my
crushed it.
But back in the day, she, was whatever, and
Sure.
she was out there just
Just mauling, dude.
until
Cutting
she ran
people
into
up.
Chris Cyborg.
Yeah,
But then
Yeah.
Chris Cyborg again, I allegedly
sure.
was on a lot of stuff.
Allegedly?
Allegedly.
Dude, she was running more. What was it? What was it? Chael Sonnen recently goes more juice than Tropicana. You know what I mean? Like, come on, dude. You can look at her and know that she's running gear.
100%. But that's kind of how I guess long way short got into Bruce Lee and all that. I did
Yeah.
eventually find jiu-jitsu and took jiu-jitsu for a while, and Z and I are actually getting back into it after.
Nice. So you guys both do jiu-jitsu then?
She's getting ready. She's never done it.
I'm about to.
You're about to, yeah.
I've avoided it for a long time.
Why? Do you mind if I ask?
Being that close to someone, like, and then all of like the ringworm or the staff.
Oh,
you know what I
gotcha,
mean?
gotcha. Yeah.
The
Joe
potential
Rogan
for
has
that.
scared the shit out of her.
No shit, for real. I mean, maybe, I don't know. I've never rolled. I've just been friends with people that roll, and they're all
Okay.
like certified BAs, like, Chuck and everyone else I know. But like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, I from what, and probably what sold you, right?
Yeah.
Is that it just humbles you hard. Right.
That's one of the reasons why. But honestly, I've never been in a physical altercation in my life.
Okay.
So I have no idea how I would handle myself,
Sure.
right? And I've never had any kind of combat training or anything like that. So I just know from like what I see,
Yeah.
and I'm thinking maybe I would do okay, but honestly, I don't know. So
Well, the
we had
unknown's
this-
kind of cool, right?
yeah.
You
Yeah.
know.
So we had this experience at the Atlanta airport the other day.
Wait,
it
what
was
happened?
like 2 months ago.
Oh, good old Jackson Hartfield, huh?
You want to start it? It was. You remember when the riots were happening downtown?
Yeah.
were-
I had family that was coming out of town. They actually canceled last second. It sucked.
We were coming
They got
back
spooked.
from Dallas that weekend
Sure.
on a very late flight. We were getting into the airport around 1 a.m.
Okay.
Yeah.
What went down?
Okay. So I'm like, we fall asleep on the plane because obviously it was late and I'm tired. I'm kind of groggy. And we get off the plane and we were walking through to the, actually, the plane train was not working. Like
They
it was,
had one running.
they had one running. So it was
In
taking
Atlanta?
Yeah, in
Yeah.
Atlanta.
For those of them that like people that have never traveled to Atlanta, if the train's not working, you're walking for an
A
hour.
long
Yeah.
time.
It's the largest international airport
Yeah.
in the lower 48.
I saw, because we actually just came back from Florida, and I saw like from zone A to B, it's like 35 minutes walking. And imagine if you have to go all the way down to like E
Sucks.
from like security. So we got off and it was not that long of a walk. It was probably like a 30-minute walk, but I'm like booking it. I'm like, I need to get to my car. I'm tired. It's late. I have to work tomorrow, like all these things. And Chuck is still like kind of out of it too. So he's not walking as fast, and we're carrying our carry-ons
No, I
behind
was
us.
with you until, you were about 2 steps ahead of me.
Okay. And then all of a sudden I hear, Z, wait up. And I'm like, what the hell? And I turn around. He's like, this girl just freaking pushed me, like had a, like physically, like, and the girl was like walking behind him and almost like running up on us. And I'm still walking straight ahead, and he catches up to me and I'm like, what did you do?
What did you do? That's what she asked. That's the first thing she asked me. What'd you do to her?
Right. It's the first thought that roamed through my head. I'm like, wait, hold on. This is not something you can handle, or
No,
like,
so,
Right.
all right.
what went down?
Yeah.
All right. So basically, Z's right ahead of me, and she's booking it. And we're going.
Sure.
Like we're on it. And the last train that was running, we were getting right to that area where the walkways are, where you can walk really fast.
Sure.
There were
The moving walkway.
Yeah, we're in about 20 people, so it's late. There's
The
not
super
a lot.
lazy walkway, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That we all take.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. So as we're going, the train comes in right at that area, and Z's a little bit ahead of me. And as that train departs, maybe like 7 or 8 people get off, and there's this one lady, and I kind of notice her, right? But I can tell someone's coming in her path, so I try to dip to the left to avoid her. And I swear, like I barely, like the back of my bag tapped her heel.
Okay.
right? And as I start to go to say, excuse me, sorry, right? She grabs
Just
me,
flips out.
She literally, I mean, it's one of those things where you go, what, right? Because I don't really have, all right, I don't really have a flight mode. I immediately get up, right? Whenever someone attacks me, like
Sure.
I don't know how to do it. Like because I'm ready to defend myself. I don't know,
Sure.
right? But basically, she grabs me and turns and tries to turn me. But as I'm looking down, I'm glad I didn't like
Yeah.
sling her or
Because
something.
you could have made matters worse.
Because as I look down,
Yeah.
she's not very big. She's a
Right.
small girl.
Yeah.
And and she's screaming in my face, right? Like, say you're sorry, fuck you, say it. And I went, get the fuck off me.
Right.
Right. And started walking, and she literally tried to hit me from behind, like I'm like rolling. She's screaming at me like, fuck you, you piece of shit, you piece of shit. And I'm like going up on her because he has.
Well, time out though. My only thought process on this chick obviously has like mental issues or had like a horrific flight or like something's going on, right?
Yeah,
like this is not normal. But like I mean interrupt, but you were just like, all right, I'm over this. Anything I can do can make the matters worse.
Right.
I'm gonna AZ, handle this.
Right.
So
Kinda.
So then I'm like trying to catch up to Z. Am I too loud?
No.
Okay. Then as I was trying to catch up to Z, because she's running up on us, right?
Yeah.
And I know once I get to Z, I can't just pass her. So this girl's gonna run into us. So I grab Z and I turn around like Zahara because I was like Z, and I realized she couldn't hear me. So I grabbed her.
Or you full named it. Like you need to get
did.
attention.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
this is
usually
like,
when I'm serious.
This
It's like
4'11" chick is about to mess me up.
100% because I can't do anything. I
Right,
got my
right.
ass kicked in first grade by a girl named Rochelle, and because I can't hit them back,
Right.
this girl just worked me over, and
Yeah.
it was not happening again.
You're like, nope.
It wasn't
I'm
happening.
I'm
You're
not
having
playing these
flashbacks.
games.
I was like, oh my god, Rochelle's
over
here.
Yeah.
Anyways, all right, so
You
so
went down the old memory bank.
I
on
did.
this one.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, again, I know what it's like to get your ass kicked by a girl when you're just standing there taking
Not
it,
in
right?
public.
It's
dude.
not fun.
Not happening.
So I catch up to Z, and I tell her this girl is like blah blah blah, and she's like, "What did you do?" And I was like, "What do you mean? What did I do? I didn't do anything." I said, "She just flipped out on me." And Z turns around and looks back, and that girl's, "Turn around, bitch, or I'll come up there and slap the fuck out of you." And Z's like, "What is your problem?" And she just keeps screaming. And then we're like, so we got about another 10 minutes of hightailing it while this lady's screaming about no security in sight.
Yeah, right.
Right?
Yeah.
And there's nothing I can literally do. I cannot stop this girl from attacking me because it will not look well for me.
Right.
No matter what I do, it's going to be
Dude, you're
bad.
going to end up on the 5 o'clock news.
100%.
You know what I mean?
And then as we're getting near the end, I start hearing, "You fucking cracker, you cracker."
Oh, she went at him like that.
And I went, well, what was funny though, is I think at first she paused a moment when I got up to Z, because I don't think whenever Z turned around, she had a little bit of like, oh.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
Right. But anyways, then she started calling me a cracker. And then I think 20 minutes later, we're in the car finally on the way home. And I was like, I didn't know people actually use cracker.
That's I don't even know if that's an insult. I think it's more just like, what the fuck are you talking about?
It actually ends in insult. And it's funny about it. Everybody thinks that when they call someone a cracker, they're referring to saltine, plain saltine, white cracker.
Sure,
it actually refers to slave owners who cracked a whip.
Oh, okay. I get, and not to like flip it in a different, but I don't know if it was like sports or if it was like, because for the record, I'm actually born and raised in Chicago.
Yeah.
Right.
Chi-town.
Yeah, Chi-town. Yeah, plug. What's up? But for me, I guess and this is gonna sound bizarre, especially for all of your southern listeners, but for the way that I grew up, right? It's Chicago is actually the most segregated city in America.
Is it really?
But it is not due to any kind of racism. It's okay, well, Chuck, what off the boat, what soup can label are you? What actually are you? Do you mind if I ask?
What am I?
Yeah. Yeah.
White.
Right. But if you had to say what your ancestors were, where they hailed from.
So I grew up with my dad telling us all we're Italian, and then I did the ancestry DNA thing.
You did the whole 23andMe thing?
Well, ancestry DNA I think is 23andMe.
Well, yeah, same concept.
But they actually just sent me back a sheet of paper that said white. Here's your
Cool.
refund. Why'd you do this?
Right.
No, I'm just
Don't you
kidding.
hate when that happens?
You should have known.
It's like,
you
come
have a
on.
mirror, sir.
Dude,
no, that's
come
like
on.
no. So it's almost all scanned.
The only real winners are the insurance companies, people.
It's like we don't want to take your money, sir. You should have known you were white.
Right. Idiot.
But anyways, no, actually, almost all Viking. It's like 68% Scandinavian,
Cool.
and then Northern Europe, etc.
Okay, so let's just, because I don't know any Scandinavian, and they're probably actually, you know what I do. So, in terms of like, and when I say Chicago's the most segregated, right? You say you're Italian, right? So like your Italian ancestors would have moved to Taylor Street, South Side, up to like Roosevelt, right?
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
You're
It's like New York.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Right. It's the same exact concept. It's just like, hey, one dude landed on Plymouth Rock, and therefore all the other dudes that are in your lineage or family, therefore, hey, you've already established yourself. Cool, we're on our way. Which makes Chicago such a fantastic melting pot in terms of like, okay, you want the best Italian food you've ever had? Go between this block radius.
Yeah.
You want the best Norwegian food? Go into Andersonville, right?
Yeah.
And don't quote me on that. Swedish, I don't know if that's technically Norwegian. I don't think it is, but like I know Andersonville is Swedish, right? Like you want the best Swedish meatballs you've ever had that are handmade by little whatever her name is that's been there for 70 years and only accepts cash. That's where you're going, kind of
cool.
deal. So like for me, when I hear all this stuff, I'm just like, that's crazy, which is a conundrum, and like in and of itself, like that's crazy for those of you that get it. That's crazy means so many different things.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
oh, like people are fighting. You're like, that's crazy.
That's
Right.
crazy.
You know,
That's
like
nuts.
I hate that person.
That's
That's crazy.
crazy.
You know, like I'm out, bro. I don't know. You know.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I don't. My wife is Hawaiian, man. I don't listen. I don't pay attention to any of that crap, man.
Yeah.
It's just like you know, you guys are whatever, right? You guys are married. No one cares, man. You love her. She loves you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gives
It's
it-
just kind of weird when you actually see it in real life.
it's wild,
You know,
right?
like that actually happened.
How did that make you feel like when you saw that? Like,
It made me feel like she was trying to start something and put it on, social media
yeah,
to get attention.
to get attention.
Like that's
like
what's-
attention-seeking behavior.
That's what's been happening lately, and
A
you
lot.
can never be too sure.
It's just
you know?
wild because I feel like like for me, and not to like, intercept, but I feel like also, I know we're supposed to talk about entrepreneurship and motorcycles.
We're
and
going to
stuff.
get there.
No, I don't, this is cool, man, because real is real. And, but to your point though, I think like listening to that kind of stuff, it's, you want to be like unapologetic to a certain point,
Right.
while simultaneously like being sensitive. And I think that's a balancing act that like is almost impossible. Right? Like
Sometimes.
you know what I mean? Like, oh, you're calling me X? Man, shut up. Like,
Right.
But it doesn't mean I'm not sensitive to anything you've gone through.
Right.
I'm just not about that.
Yeah.
I'm not about that life. I don't care about that. I think you have a heartbeat, and I think you have rib cage, and we can go down all these analogies.
Right.
But when you hear that stuff, like you see this girl that obviously has either mental issues, personal issues, whatever the case may be.
Bad night.
Like
Yeah.
me being as desensitized, and the there's an entrepreneur in me, there's a biker in me, and there's just like no nonsense Southsider in me.
Mm-hmm.
All collectively go, shut up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
Just shut the fuck
Yeah.
up.
I know.
Yeah.
I thought me looking back at her and giving her the eye, like, what the hell? What
Yeah.
are you talking about?
what are
was
you
gonna
doing?
like stop her, but obviously didn't.
Like you need some validation to say
Yeah.
like he's all right. Like no, he's just
Yeah.
all right because he's all right.
Exactly.
And you have an issue,
Exactly.
not anyone else.
Yeah, she had the issue and she was on her cell phone.
Yeah.
This Emmer Aphrodite. I was like, okay. First of all, I don't like people running up on me. So
Right.
this is what where
Jolted
the BJJ
everything.
where the BJJ comes in.
Right.
I'm like, if
Just choke her out on the
if
turnstile.
I turned around and like she swung, like what would I do? What would be my reaction? Like
Yeah.
how would I respond?
Just mollywop her.
Yeah, I know.
Just beat the shit
I probably
out of
could have
You're-
kicked her real hard.
You're
But
actually you're very strong. So I think that she's a small girl. I think that you could have got her off of you,
yeah.
but I think it would have been a battle.
Yeah, and then the hair pulling and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to fight. I want to know how to fight just so that I can know how to fight,
Right.
right? Or
Right.
defend myself.
Defend
honestly.
yourself, sure.
Not fight, because I don't want to pick anything. But if someone came at me that unexpectedly, then I want to know how to be able to like
You
get
don't
them
feel
off.
so like uncertain, right?
Yeah.
See,
Like, how long have you been rolling, if you don't mind me asking?
that would have been 47, so that would have been 22, and then I did it for about 10 years.
So you've been rolling for almost
I
over a
rolled
decade.
for about 10 years,
Okay.
off and on.
And mixed martial arts before that.
Yeah.
At least another decade.
I actually think that one of the best things that I took was a little bit of an offshoot of Taekwondo called Hapkido,
Hapkido.
because it has a lot of joint locks, and it helped me.
Is that what they focus on? Is like,
Well, it's very similar. It's kind of like Tang Soo Do. It's very similar as far as a Korean martial art goes, but it does have a few more joint locks in it, and they work really well with that little bit of judo that I had.
what is that? Like, is it's essentially like disabling, or is it more so just like putting
It's
them
more
in a position?
controlling. It's
Control.
more controlling, and then
It's control.
controlling the other person's body
Wrists.
and getting them to where you want them to be. Yes.
Okay.
Inflicting pain usually on medium-sized joints in order to try to get this person to where you want them to be, in order to either submit, or if you get them into a position where you can land blows.
What for like people that don't understand, like myself, right? Like, because I've only had a straight right cross that I've gotten very lucky for over the years. What would be like a medium joint versus a large or a small joint? Like, small joint would be finger.
Yeah, those are small joints. I think your medium joints would be more like your wrist. Your large joints would be shoulders. Elbows are probably considered medium. For me.
Okay, because
I mean,
they'll disable you long term.
Size of the joint.
Size of the joint.
And then
Gotcha.
also, I mean, when I'm thinking about medium joints, I mean, obviously small joints are going to inflict pain, but it's not disabling. Like I could probably break your finger. We're still going to be in a fight.
Right.
I'll pull your elbow out. It's going to
like
be
I'm
hard.
down to
Right. We might still fight, but it's not smart.
Right.
Right. I mean, it's not a good idea to try to literally, if I pop your elbow out or pop the capsule on your elbow and you can't move it, it's not a good idea to continue
to go. Like,
you should have learned something from that.
I'm done.
Little piece of
like, I have a screw loose if I still want to keep going.
But really, in that scenario, what I would want her to be able to do is to put her into something like a rear naked choke.
Yeah.
Or
feel
or a
really
guillotine.
comfortable. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and just choke her out quick so that we can get up and go.
Like, I'm in this situation where I know exactly what to do. I don't want to have to do it, but if I do have to do it, I'm going to.
If you have to,
get you out of the equation.
I specifically want her to learn blood chokes because
like
they're
Nate
quick.
Diaz did the other night on.
Yeah,
He always does.
Oh my God,
That dude's different.
I think he
That
turned
dude is
himself in,
different.
but some dude. I mean, how stupid do you have to be
to mess
to
with
run
him.
up on Nate Diaz in a
Man.
street fight?
Bro, just all right. Here, look at the Diaz brothers, right? From the Nick Diaz Army days, all the way down to the Nate Diaz, like just straight up walking around with his little, like more leaner than he ever was when he was fighting, with a beer in his hand.
Yeah.
And realize, like, look at the different facials.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
like the kid's face when he was 18 versus the kid's face now that he's. Dude, they're caught.
There's so
Yeah.
much scar
dude.
tissue.
So much. Bro.
If he's not bleeding, he's not fighting.
But look at the wars he was in.
Oh yeah,
Like, it
brutal.
makes so much sense.
He is one of my favorite all time fighters.
Nick or Nate or both?
Actually, I like Nick, but I think.
Why do you like Nick over Nate?
No. I like Nate over Nick.
Oh, you like Nate over Nate?
I like Nate over Nick. I actually feel like I've followed Nate more than I have Nick. Like I followed Nate from the very first Ultimate Fighter, right?
Sure.
All the way through
when he
his
was a
entire
kid,
career.
just-
Whereas Nick was kind of like someone who I knew was like, he's a legend before Nate. I'd seen him fight,
100%,
right?
yeah.
But as far as like the dog in the fight,
Yeah.
there's something about the way Nate Diaz fights. I love that whole.
Even if he's losing, he's still gonna flick you off.
He's just gonna flip you off
They
and
both
slap
do
you.
it though. That's what's crazy.
Slap you.
Yeah.
He'll slap you.
The Stockton.
I'll tell you. Yeah, I'll tell you what.
Yeah,
what my
man.
favorite Nick Diaz moment though, and it's crazy because I did not
For the
know.
record, I'm a Nate Diaz over
Are you?
Nick Diaz guy.
Yeah,
just for the record.
Yeah,
But it's crazy because there's not much difference from those.
They're
Not to
not.
cut
They're
you
both
off.
good
They're
guys.
almost the same dude.
yeah.
I just feel like Nate had that major platform.
I think
Yeah.
so too.
Like, and that's what people remember.
Yeah.
yeah,
But Nick, never forget, like Nick, like faced Anderson Silva and told
That's
him
my
to go
favorite
fuck
moment.
himself.
Yeah.
that's my favorite moment.
Like, it was crazy.
I
He did
love-
get suspended, right? So he
Robbie
had
Lawler?
some time off.
Oh my God, that Robbie Lawler.
Yeah, he did. He did.
because of
Man,
marijuana.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, how stupid.
So stupid.
So dumb.
It's.
I
I
don't
mean,
even smoke like because I'm lame and I get panic attacks. But like, I'll be honest with you. Anybody that's got a problem with weed, like you're lame. You're an L7 weenie.
if it was legal, I'd do it.
You know what I mean?
I mean, if it was legal, I'd do it.
all
But
day.
I
Well,
don't-
Georgia's not too far away, right?
they'll probably get it there eventually.
They got
yeah.
dispensaries up in
I
Helen,
mean,
I thought.
it's weird to think, when you actually think about it, everybody, because our time frames are so short that we think in things of being like these long-standing institutions. Like when you think about the NBA, the historic NBA, but it's a minuscule. The Gladiators are around for 800 years.
Right.
True.
Right.
But the
That's
when
an
you-
interesting way to put it.
if you look at marijuana, it's been legal way longer in history than it's been illegal. It's only been illegal since what, the 40s?
When people started realizing they
Something
could
like
make
that.
money off of it.
Yeah, or that it would cost them a lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or that
no
it would
doubt.
cost them a lot of money.
Yeah.
Because there were so many other uses for marijuana. It's very similar to the whole Tesla story, how they didn't want him to be able to provide this type of electricity because these big conglomerates would stand to lose so much money.
You know what though? The first person through the door always gets bloody. You
Oh,
know what
yeah.
I mean?
Of
And
course.
like that's a Moneyball quote that I always loved. A cowboy from what movie? Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah. He played the anyway, long story short, but like, and not to segue into anything, but like from a business perspective, like the brunch bill, bro. Like the brunch bill was huge for us. Like huge.
Okay.
Like right before we opened our doors, I'm talking like 30 days.
Right.
We had all of our people, everybody vote. Like, and for those of you listening and those of you who don't know, in Georgia, everything is based off of municipality, right?
Right.
Whether it be local, state, federal, county, right? Like you got to make everybody happy.
Right.
And that's cool, right? You're giving us an opportunity to earn $1. Cool, fine. We'll play the game. We won't dance after midnight, whatever the case may be. But the truth of the matter is, and for the record, like all my counties have been great. Like Buford's been fantastic. Gwinnett's been fantastic. Working in Gwinnett's been fantastic. And full disclosure, like the whole reason I'm even in Georgia as a businessman is because I really, as a startup businessman, could not afford it back in Chicago.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like the liquor license cost my build out. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, the point I'm trying to make with, to come full circle and land the plane is, the brunch bill is huge, man. Like you guys have been to my brunch, like, you know what it is. It's aggressive. It's cool. It's all encompassing.
Yeah.
But that being said, imagine if my brunch started at 12:30
Right.
as opposed to 11, like I'm fucked.
That's
Right.
lunch.
You know what I mean? Like you're talking about, like, let's say you do $1,000 an hour, which most businesses would be happy to do, right? Like you're talking about that's $52,000 a year, right? And that's only for 1 hour.
Right.
So let's say it's 1,500, right? So add another, $6,000 or whatever, if my math is correct, right? We're talking about a kid's college fund, right? Like, so I don't really know where we were going with all that, but just in terms of like putting things in perspective.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How do you like that for a segue? Huh?
I like that. We're going wherever we want to go. Yeah.
No worries.
It actually is a good segue, though. So, you tell everybody. I mean, first of all, I'll say, Over the Top Burger Bar is
You're cool, man.
one of the coolest spots. I really like the atmosphere. I like the fact that the burgers are craft burgers. I get a lot of crap because I always talk about how much I love like the Elvis thing with the peanut butter. And
Appreciate you,
all that good stuff. But yeah, no, it's an amazing bar. You guys do a bunch of pop-ups that are really cool. The Halloween pop-up was crazy. The Christmas pop-up
Y'all
was
showed
crazy.
out for that, man.
Yeah, we had a good time.
That was that was cool, man. I was glad to see you guys there because I think that was when we were first like becoming like friends, you know, like we were always friendly,
Right.
but it was one of those things where he's like, yo, blah blah blah, and I'm like, man, just come through. And you're like, all right, I'm gonna show out, and I was like, we'll say less, all right.
And man, you guys so you catered 2 huge events for us.
Thank you,
And,
bro. Well, thank you.
You did an amazing job. The food was amazing. We had a little bit, at one point it was like, oh man, we got to figure out one of these hors d'oeuvres, and you guys just made something happen. It was so cool.
Yeah.
You made custom drinks for us, named them after the theme.
Yeah.
It was awesome. I think I even got on the mic one night.
You did.
Yeah.
Cool DJ.
Oh, bro, I got footage we haven't even released
Oh,
yet.
come on, bro.
maybe. What do you think? think? We could just throw it in there.
No, come on.
Embarrass Chuck on his platform.
Right.
Yeah, but no, it's a great bar. But,
Appreciate that, man.
So if you don't mind, man, tell us a little bit about, I mean, I'm going to ask a lot. So
You're good, man.
How'd you get into it? You know, coming from Chicago to here, tell me about why Over the Top Burger Bar, what your idea was, etc.
No, I appreciate that, man. Well, thank you, bro. Like, basically, man, and no disrespect to anybody, man, but I'm just not the cubicle dude. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and I think, and when I mean that with all due respect, I just know me, like, I love people. Like, for instance, my wife is a super hard introvert, right? Like, so for her, like, she loves people if they're close. I love, hey, what's your story? I just met you and I want to know fucking everything about you. You know what I mean? Kind of deal. And it was one of those situations where, like, that's how I got into food service, you know, because, like, I started, like, serving and bartending and, like, doing all these things and whatnot. And I realized that I could really, like, love people. So that's how I got into food service. When it comes to, like, Over the Top, honestly, man, I had great mentors. Thank you so much. I had great mentors, and, like, I was just like, I kept crunching numbers back home because I'm a bartender at heart. No matter what, bro, I'm not a blue collar dude. I'm not a white collar dude. Like I'm just not that guy. I can type an email. I can, you know, network with the best of them. But that being said, I like rolling up my sleeves. I like getting dirty. I like meeting people, and then I like moving on to the next project.
Okay.
Right? Like, that's just my goal for anything I touch. I want to be in every major metropolitan area, but at the same time, when I walk into that unit, I want to be able to, like, know most of my employees' names, if not all of them, and I want them to know that I'll wash dishes tonight.
100%.
You know what I mean? And you can't sit in your ivory tower. So, not to get off track, but
No, you're good. I'll say,
please,
every time I go in that spot, you're behind the bar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
Every
I
time
was
I
like,
go in
"Where's
there, you're
Travis?"
working. Oh, he's behind the bar.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't even know why I ask anymore.
Shit, the other
He's behind
night
the
I was flipping burgers, like, legitimately. You're never above it, man. Like,
No, you
it's,
can't be.
You can't be, man. If anybody thinks they are, they're kind of a jerk.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I think is really important about leadership, and I've had,
Because you're a leader too, man.
I've had the
And you as well, you know.
the fortune of being in a leadership role for a while now, and learning from some really great people is one of your goals should be to replicate your success and help replicate the things that you were able to do, the things that you learned, pass that knowledge on.
Yeah.
And I don't see how you do that without being in it with them.
Right.
They won't respect you.
They
man.
won't. They
won't.
always look at you differently. And they go, what does he know? He doesn't know what it's like to sit in this desk and recruit all day.
I've seen
I
it
do.
firsthand.
I
You've
do.
seen it firsthand.
100%.
You've seen it firsthand. Imagine that first time you're, like, doing that whole, and I keep referring back to that stupid cliche, but, like, ivory tower.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, imagine, like, you go in there and start pointing fingers, like, Z, you need to do this. Chuck, you need to do this. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden you just go in there, you roll up your sleeves and you legitimately do it.
Yeah.
And then they look over like you're
Changes.
in the trenches with them.
Yeah.
I got guys been rocking with me 3 years, short staffed, 75% less staff, 200% volume up, meaning, and for those of you who don't understand, like, you
a
know,
lot.
that's, I mean, imagine you double your sales, but you got a quarter of your staff.
Yeah.
And these dudes don't walk,
Right.
but they're tired.
Yeah.
They have families. You know what I mean? Like, they're beat up and they still rock with me.
It's because of who you are
I don't know.
as a leader.
It is.
Honestly.
My wife's pretty cool too. You know?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
the
your
both
wife's
of you,
awesome.
I'm sure
Yeah.
it's a good mix, right?
Having humility is huge, I think, you know.
It
Yeah.
is. Yeah, I think you definitely need to be humble. But I also think that you also have to have that confidence to know that you know what you're doing here.
Sure.
You always have the opportunity to learn, but you do
I
know
learn.
what you've already learned. So
I
you
learn
need to
hard,
apply.
man. All my dudes, man. I learn from every single
day.
one of them. Every single day, man. Like, I'm like as you were saying, like, you were being so complimentary just now. I didn't mean to cut you off. I apologize. But, like my one dude, I'll even name drop. His name's Jose. Been rocking with me for 3 years, bro. Like, this dude has actually even got, like, type 2 and lost a toe kind of deal.
Wow.
Showed up like 3 days later, like, just unloading trucks.
Yeah.
Like, how am I gonna bitch about whatever I got going on when this dude's literally like sacrificing body parts. Right?
Yeah, and since Z, it's funny, Z and I kind of understand what you're saying when you say that because we do employment as our professional.
That's
jobs,
right. Yeah.
But just in the restaurant industry, it's astronomical turnover to have anyone for 3 years, especially in that specific type of role.
Yeah,
is insane.
I think the hardest thing too is to understand that it's not reflective of you as a leader, but like just the nature of the biz.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, because my wife and I, we looked at it and we were like, at our one location alone last year, we had 161 employees. But this is also post-COVID, Gen Z, like all these things. And there's a lot of positives to Gen Z. Like they really, like, we like to shit on them. Like boomers are like used to shit on us, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's Gen X or millennials or whatever. But like the truth of the matter is if you're just constantly looking at issues, then you're really not a problem solver, right?
No.
Yeah,
Like you just
100%.
have to figure it out, and whether it be generation or task at hand. But I think it's kind of one and the same.
Aren't you guys glad that the boomers found another generation to be pissed off at?
Bro.
I mean, we're skating. Like, we're just under the radar right now. No one's really fucking with us.
Bro.
Gen X is the forgotten.
We're like,
They're kind of the coolest though.
it's like the Super Bowl, whatever Super Bowl it was. You had like the boomers angry about it and this, and I'm like, y'all, can y'all just stop arguing so I can enjoy the fucking halftime show?
Right.
I mean,
right.
can you two
Be in the moment.
generations just shut the fuck up so the ones who actually enjoy this music can listen to it?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Because you don't give a shit about it. Was the 50 Cent and Eminem. Y'all don't
dude,
give
that
a
was the
shit
best
about
halftime show
them.
ever.
My parents don't give a shit about them.
Yeah.
I
Really
like
good.
them. Shut the fuck up and let me enjoy it.
All
But
right,
they won't
listen,
do it.
All the Chuck and Z listeners out there, if you guys are engaging, which I know you are, listen. The Snoop Dogg halftime show was absurdly awesome. It was like that, Prince, Whitney, and this recent Stapleton were all really cool. But Stapleton wasn't a halftime show, right? We're gonna get lit up for that. But
Yeah,
I'll tell you this right now,
might as well be.
that was incredible.
It's
bro.
incredible.
It
That-
was so. I'm so sick and tired of like I don't listen to any of the stuff they play at halftime. I get what you're
Right.
doing, but like that was awesome.
yeah.
No, but speaking of Chris Stapleton, he was like one of the best
He crushed.
national anthems I've heard.
He crushed. Him and Whitney.
Yeah, and Whitney, exactly.
Yeah,
Oh,
those are
yeah.
the two.
Those are the top two.
I don't even know any. Like I
I don't
can't
remember
even.
any.
Like if there was anything else, I'm not really.
Yeah.
You know.
The thing that I want to see is like, obviously, they're watching someone specifically perform. So it's about them.
Sure.
Yes.
Sure.
But the thing that I liked about Chris Stapleton and even Whitney, when they're singing it, when you're watching them sing it,
Right.
they're alone in that stadium.
Yeah.
Like you can tell they are just fucking singing this song they want to sing, not because they're like, oh, let me be, what was it, Fergie, and do a bunch of weird runs and
Right.
weird phrasing because I'm
Right.
gonna make this me.
Yeah.
You know, no, shut up and sing the song to your best ability.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Just, I mean, that's what that song is for.
No, yeah, and then you see like some, I don't know, man.
Cheers.
Oh, salute, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you
Sorry
guys
to
so much
interrupt.
for the record for having us.
No problem. Thank you,
You know.
baby. Appreciate the drink.
Of course.
But yeah, no, not to circle back, but yeah, man, came down. I looked at my wife one day. We were actually gonna buy a bar in St. Thomas, Virgin Islands. Went down there. I think we talked about that, right? And I went down there for 9 days. Beautiful place, super duper cool. For me, there do come with some challenges living on an island.
Okay.
Like things you wouldn't even think of: water, feminine product, cost of build out, right? Like little things. And we were life savings venture. So we didn't have that kind of liquidity. We just had enough that we saved.
Yeah. I didn't think about because everything has to be imported onto the island.
Yeah.
So like your
Yeah.
supplies and things like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
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 And then if it
Interesting.
doesn't, like there's a and you know, we'll probably get lit up for this, but I think it's called Waho, not to be confused with Waffle House, but it is the water and electricity on the island. It's all connected.
Okay.
And if it goes out, it goes out. So imagine they're building your stuff and then it goes out.
Yeah.
Like it's just you're out of commish. That's labor tied up. That's whatever. And we had a very tight budget.
Okay.
So long story short,
Siri talking shit. Shut up.
no, it's a fact, man. And again, I'm gonna get lit up about the Wahoo thing. I think the acronym is Wahoo. But
Don't worry about it.
anyway, so
They
we
can Google
go.
it.
We had a boat, and we're like, all right, where are we gonna go? And we threw a dart, man, and we looked at Lake Lanier. Came down here, checked it out, and I'm like, yo,
Really?
yeah,
Out of all the cities,
it's 100%.
out of all the lakes.
Well, it's the most visited lake in the United States over Havasu.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, what about Lake Havasu?
No, it's over. Well, even if I want to go to Havasu, right? It's the have and have nots same
True,
situation, right?
true.
Like you got Vegas and LA. Like I can't compete with that.
Sounds like Palm Beach.
I was about to say, you want to talk about have and have not.
You know what I'm saying?
We were at Palm
It's-
Beach this past weekend for
Oh yeah,
a trip.
how was that?
It was an amazing
Was it
trip.
just-
We were at the Breakers, which is an incredible hotel. I mean,
Just
this thing
gorgeous.
is just old money feeling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But like
opulent.
cool or stuffy?
Cool. No, it was cool. It was cool because we made it cool. I mean, there were definitely those people walking around who were
You guys
like,
hear that? You guys go to the Breakers, Chuck and Z are there.
Take
It's
us.
cool.
Take us.
Take Chuck and Z.
take us.
The staff is not to be, no pun intended, over the top.
Over the top.
Look at that plug. Look at that plug.
Look at that. She's good at this job.
Let's go.
And they were very, very attentive. And I mean, from getting your room, your room clean, housekeeping, to turning your bed down at night type deal.
Yeah, they were just on it.
Yeah.
And
But
yeah,
it's super expensive.
it's
Sure,
so bougie.
Sure. You said you were in Palm Springs?
Palm Beach.
Palm Beach.
Palm Beach. Yeah.
Like down
of
the
course.
street from Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah,
Type of spot.
Yeah. Just a real shithole. Just the worst.
Absolutely.
Just hated it the whole time.
No,
Miserable.
it's terrible.
How was the weather though? Jokes aside.
There was one day where it stormed a little bit, and
Well,
then
gnarly.
leaving out, it was gnarly. As a
Yeah.
matter of fact, a crazy thing happened.
Did you guys
all-
ride or what'd you do?
No, we
No.
flew down.
Oh, you flew down. Cool.
and- yeah, when we were coming back though, our plane got delayed. I actually said,
Oh,
"There's-"
this is right before Z almost beat somebody up.
no, this is just this is like 2 days ago.
So
Right, this is Turnstile.
Uh,
Right?
this is
No,
this
this
was a
is
different
recent.
time.
Oh, that's that wasn't just recently.
no, that was like 2 months ago.
Oh, 2 months. That's
Yeah.
right. You guys
Yeah.
said that.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
not fortunately and unfortunately, we go to the airport a lot.
Right. Okay. Duly noted.
So
Yeah.
this particular, I honestly don't feel like I could afford going there by ourselves.
Sure.
I won President's Club for a company,
Okay.
and that was the trip that they
Right.
paid for.
That's awesome.
So
Well, congratulations.
Yeah, no,
you.
she's,
Yeah, no,
she's,
that's
a,
awesome.
she's a badass.
thank
Yeah,
you.
certified. and you guys work together, Z, or
Yeah.
you? Yeah.
Now we do. Yeah.
Now you do. Gotcha.
We actually met at work. We met in the industry, and then we worked together for a few years. And then we left that company and split off and went to a couple of different companies.
Okay.
And then just recently, I left the company I was with and joined her company.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
And did you not to like
No, that's cool.
be in it, but like did you pursue Z or was it vice versa?
When we met,
Yeah. Like like who did anybody slide into DMs? Like what happened? Like who was the pursuant? If you know what I mean.
so I
The
would
reason
say
I'm asking it was, are you an HR problem?
I was.
Okay.
No.
Back
Actually,
then.
we actually behaved ourselves quite a bit. I
Cool.
mean, we, when I first met her, we were both working. I was near the end of, I was actually in a marriage at the time, and we didn't pursue anything
Sure.
because I didn't want, I've never wanted to be that guy.
Right. Right.
And so, but the marriage was near the end.
Sure.
And when it ended, Z was very, very accommodating to me and took care of me. And,
Sure.
I knew though from the moment I met her that she's the most beautiful woman I'd ever seen.
Yeah.
And I knew she was trouble.
Oh, that's awesome,
I knew
man.
she was trouble.
That's awesome.
But
Next
yeah,
thing you
tell
know,
me
look
if
at you
you
now.
want some more details, I'll tell you off air.
Yeah, no worries. Hey, there you go.
I mean, not
man.
those details. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, what are
No.
you trying to do?
I didn't mean that.
That's
I didn't mean that.
Hey, listen, no matter what anybody says, and I'm sorry if my in-laws are listening, but I've had sex twice in my life. You
Yeah.
know? So
yeah.
got a 2-year-old and a 5-week-old. So
Just twice. Just
just
twice.
twice. No, that's awesome, man. Congratulations.
Thank
But
you.
yeah, no. So over the top.
Yeah. So long story short, man, I know I'm waterboarding you guys, but we
This is what a podcast is.
that's
brother.
what a podcast is, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
but yeah, man, so we just decided like, no, all right, cool, man. So yeah, Z, to be full disclosure, like we were sitting in bed one day and we just look, and I'm like, I looked at her and I'll never forget the line I told her. I go, you want to just take a chance? And she goes, yeah. And like we quit our jobs. We had like good jobs, like everything. And we just like packed everything up. We left everybody. And
Oh my God, it's so romantic. I
Yeah.
love it.
well, I was like, here's my thought, right? This could be the entrepreneur, not to like dilute that whole like, but I'm like, all right. And this is for any potential entrepreneurs out there.
Yeah.
But like worst case scenario, oh shit, it doesn't work
Yeah.
out. You
You
run
gotta go
out
do
of money, whatever.
Yeah. You got to go get a job.
One bus ticket back and you're home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just take a chance, bro. Like that's my argument. And like and it gets even, I mean, I don't know how much time we got, but like we get down here, right? And I get this job and I met my business partner at the time. And his mom unfortunately had passed away, but you know, came into a little bit of cash, whatever. And it was just some job. It was just some job I literally pressed click on, dude. Like this like job that I didn't care about, whatever. For all you kids that don't care about jobs, it's a great networking opportunity. You just don't know who you're gonna look at. You guys come into my restaurant and now here we are. Right.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you just don't know.
Right.
Take everything with a grain of salt, whatever it might be. So anyway, dude I'm working with, I'm technically his boss, I guess, at the time, but like I'm not taking it really seriously. I'm just doing my job.
Right.
We end up hitting it off. He comes in a little bit of cash. I'm like, yo, this is what I'm down here for. I got a little bit of cash. And we start shopping. It took me 18 months, man, to find this space. And I mean, I'm telling you, man, and we got down to our last couple shekels in terms of like how I was allowed to F around.
Mhm.
Like, cause it was going to be like, all right, I got to go back into the workforce because my 8 hours a day looking for a space is not working out.
Right.
Right. Like we're running into tax dumps. We're running into like, and just running into all these fire sales, like just crap, right? Just garbage that's spewing out. But then we come across this place. I think it used to be called the Wolf Den or whatever. Yeah, it was the Wolf Den. And it was this like cool idea, whatever. And I was just like, I made an offer same day. I'm like, because there was somebody else there.
Yeah.
But I saw the space and I saw where it was located. And people, for whatever reason, didn't really give Buford a lot of credit in terms of like the people that I were talking to, which is obviously the wrong people.
Yeah.
And I look at it and I'm like, bro, there is a Margaritaville a stone's throw away. Is at the
Exactly.
south end, like what, less than a quarter mile from the largest visited lake in the southeast.
Yep.
It has, for those of you listening that don't understand, like Buford High School,
Yes.
like is
It's
what,
like-
12-time state champion
Oh, yeah.
defending.
It's
Yeah.
huge.
Like, yeah, go look at the MLB draft and tell me how many Buford kids were in the first round.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you put all these things in, and then the average household income, the clientele, right? Whatever.
It's come up a lot too.
So, right.
Just over the years.
That's a great
Has
spot.
it? Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
what's your through traffic every day on the street?
So-
one
so-
of the things I'm looking at when I'm doing new markets is how much through traffic is on the adjoining street.
so through traffic, endless. Foot traffic, obviously, we're a destination spot.
right.
But through traffic, forget about it. Dude, Buford Highway goes all the way into Atlanta, as you very well know.
Oh yeah.
So like I've actually had calls sometimes where they're like, hey, we're here, but we can't find you. And I'm like, bro, you're in Atlanta, right?
Oh,
30 minutes
no.
south of us, you know, which sucks. But hey, all the more reason to open up one down there, whatever. So make an offer, we do it. And then that's when the story gets really weird, man.
Yeah.
Like I purchased it Halloween of 2019. I
Wow,
get
that's not
in.
too long ago.
Yeah, man. I get in there and I got maybe not to be too gross, but like I got like 40 G's left. Like after inventory, everything, like
Yeah.
that's all I got.
Yeah.
Which sounds like a lot, but you know, if you got to staff it, you got to pay it, whatever.
Yeah, pay employees.
Goes quick.
Yeah, it goes like stupid quick, right? So we buy up everything, we do the remodels, we do everything. I do it all by hand, man. I go to you
Floor and
know,
decor.
oh man, I went to Home Depot. Yeah, Pour Decor.
Floor and decor.
Floor and Decor. More like
that was
Pour
actually
Decor.
funny though. I thought you said pour and decor too.
Yo, that's literally, you walked in over the top of
Hey,
this
I
day.
did actually.
It's Pour Decor,
I said
bro.
pour.
That's a new like chain, like aftermarket sales, like like
Dude,
a TJ Maxx. Everything they can.
100%. I hit my Rolodex of people that I don't know, and I'm like, "Hey, you got a painter?" And they're like, "Yeah, we got you." And I'm like, "What's the cheapest paint?" They're like, "Black." I'm like, "Cool," you know. so that we just
Yeah.
we
Is it really?
Yeah.
at the time maybe I don't even
Is it
know.
cheaper than
Makes
white?
sense.
Oh no!
What are you saying?
Hey, I wasn't even going there, Travis.
No, I
Stop.
don't know. You
What
guys
are you-
with the racial undertones.
what
of
are
the
you
podcast.
doing?
I was just saying, like, most houses are like that eggshell color
Yeah.
when you come into it, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I'm thinking that's most common. So it's the cheapest, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Anyway, dig yourself out of that one. Good job.
To be quite honest with you, I have no idea.
You guys went there. That was
no.
not me.
But yeah, man, and then this little weird little freaking plague called COVID hit.
Oh,
dude.
Jesus.
I was thinking, like,
Bro, like I'm telling you, I got direct TV with like I had X amount left, and I literally get direct TV. And for those of you who don't know, but commercial restaurant grade direct TV is thousands of dollars because
Oh, yeah.
they go by CO, certificate of occupancy.
mhm.
They go by like how many how many people you can get, what your liquor license is. It's all this bullshit. You know?
Yeah, I know how much it costs for you guys to get a UFC fight.
Oh, it's
insane.
crazy, man.
Yeah.
And you know what? I don't even care. I don't care who's listening. The truth of the matter is, man, all my small business owners out there, you do whatever you got to do to get those UFC fights on. Forget the man.
You do you, boo.
You just do your thing. But man, this is where it gets weird, man. And I know this is a long story, so I apologize. But
No, you're good.
literally, I put on DirecTV. It is March 13th,
Oh my God.
2020.
We're about to
And
shut
that's when
down.
I first, and nobody understands, like that is when I first heard about COVID,
We're about to shut down.
like really heard about COVID.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, what is this beard disease? Okay, swine flu, we get it, whatever. Bro, and what I'm not even gonna go down that political route. All I'm saying is from a business perspective, I'm fighting the good fight. We opened our doors March 16th, and my good friend, shout out Derek Gorel. You know Derek, right? Big dude,
Yeah,
solid
yeah.
dude, chef,
Yeah,
Taqueria
yeah.
Tsunami, solid. My best friend, one of my best men in my wedding.
Oh.
He accounted for, I think he spent $700 in 2 days. My total sales in 2 days were $1,500,
Wow.
which is horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Yeah.
I'm getting just lit up, like on social media, like how dare you open, how this, whatever your political stance is, I don't care.
Yeah.
All I'm telling you guys is from a business perspective, I almost lost everything.
For sure.
Yeah.
And
Before even
48 other states that I know and everybody I knew back home did. Now for those that are like, oh, what about PPE? What about employee retention and ERC and all this stuff? I don't have a payroll.
Right.
I never did a day's worth of sales. So like I had no choice but to stay open.
Oh, I get what you're saying.
This is where it gets cool. This is where it gets really cool. So we shut down for 2 weeks.
Mhm.
And I had to borrow a little bit of cash from some friends that I won't name on air because I know they're listening. But like I just borrowed cash. Got me through it. Check this out. Fucking 2 weeks later, bro, we're having lawn parties, lines out the door. People that are refusing to go to corporate established restaurants that are willing to spend all this money.
Mhm.
What did they love about it? I used to do these like PSA pamphlets, like where I would go, this is what we know about COVID. Here's 10% off your next order.
Mhm.
Here's everything about our business. And then event against a lot of advice. I don't know if y'all remember this, but like I threw in a roll of toilet paper with every order.
Mhm.
And at the time, people were having trouble getting toilet paper. It sounds so silly. Sounds like 100 years
That
ago.
was like a.
No, that's a
You had
real
a gimmick.
thing.
That's
It's
Bro.
a real
awesome.
thing.
but
It does sound like it's a long time ago.
oh, it
It
does.
does
right?
feel that way,
I
doesn't it?
can't tell you how many people told me not to do it. Like they were like, yo, this is too sensitive. Don't do it. I still have a friend, shout out Stephanie Arts, Nick
Stephanie!
Arts. Yeah, you know Stephanie? You know
Yes.
what I mean? So like I literally go, she still to this day has that roll of toilet paper, like just ride or die.
Really?
You know what I mean? Like just cool. And I hear stories about that 3 years later and all the success that we've had, all the feathers we got in our cap. And I'm just like, bro, you want to talk about grinding? That's what you guys
That's
do.
100%.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And you guys know that better than anybody.
Yeah.
So
That was
Yeah.
crazy.
it's our whole story, man.
That's awesome. And I'm
Appreciate
glad.
it.
I mean, you started in the worst time,
Yeah, it was wild.
and 3 years later, you're still kicking. So.
Yeah, no, we're rolling, man. We're coming up. We've only had, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, man. Having a super caloric restaurant in January and February, not so much. But like come March, people are over their diets.
Yeah.
So we're back in the saddle.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's true.
So,
Yeah, COVID was crazy for us too. I mean, in employment, we were definitely essential because we
Yeah.
had so many
Oh,
different
dude.
types of
Yeah.
businesses that we had to deal with.
yeah.
Mhm.
But I mean, imagine you're over like a North Georgia territory.
Right.
You got like $60 million in revenue that you're responsible for. All these people working, and everybody is like, "What do we do?"
Right.
And none of us had any answers.
Nobody
We didn't know
knows.
what to do.
Nobody did.
We basically just
Anybody
had
who
to.
claimed they did is full of it.
That's right. We basically just had to figure it out as we went. But
Yeah.
the thing that I thought about when we were saying this is one of the I would say one of the things that you identify within people who are successful is that they just don't take whatever is happening as a reason to stop.
Mm-mm.
Right? It's like that whole
Exactly.
saying about walls exist because, to keep out the people who don't want things bad enough. Right?
Mhm.
And I feel like I started my first real job as a manager
Sure.
was in 07, 08
Okay. Oh yeah.
during
Great
the financial
timing, brother.
crisis.
Hey, you and I, we should start opening a business.
That's
I mean,
right.
I'm sure that there'll
That's
be a
right.
massive crash.
That's right. Up until that point,
Kidding.
I had been a hard charging salesperson,
Right.
just banking commissions. That was
Yeah.
what I did. I mean, and then I was wanting to transition into, again, more of a man. I started feeling that whole, I want to help lead people. Like, this is great that I'm an individual contributor and I'm doing well for myself. But I feel like there's a lot of people who may not know kind of how this path works. And I feel like I see it so I can help. So I wanted to get into management and start helping people get there. So I took a job in Columbia, South Carolina. During the financial crisis, I took over a branch that was billing $9,000 a week in revenue, which is losing $60,000 a week in revenue. And I had to figure out, this is my first shot.
Right.
I had to figure this
You
out.
can't screw this up.
No, this was me getting that opportunity to show that I can be a leader of people. And I adapted because my first thought was, and it was that way when I was in sales. I didn't know what I was doing when I started. I was 19.
Right.
I was a 19-year-old kid that told, "Hey, go work banking." I can't balance my checkbook. What are you talking about working banking as a recruiter? I don't know what you even mean. I got to figure this out, right? So
Right.
I adapted to it, just paid attention to what was going around me. And in that scenario, I was like, okay, so when people get really poor, what industries matter? What industries matter? I'm going to target those. And so
Right.
I targeted very specific industries, like people tend to refurbish things versus buying new things. So I started looking for people that
Smart.
did that kind of stuff. People were going to need cheap food. So I knew the fast food restaurants were going to do well. So I started looking for produce manufacturers that service fast food manufacturers. And I took that branch from dead last in the company. I got it to number one, in 2 years? During the financial crisis.
That's awesome.
And it's not special. It's just identifying what direction you need to go because everybody takes the excuse. There are socially accepted excuses for failure.
Sure.
And everybody takes it, right?
Sure.
Now, I'm not saying that there aren't people who are put into weird situations, right? But then there are people that are not necessarily in bad situations that could make a decision to do something better. And I was one of those at that moment. I
Right.
could figure this out.
Right.
And that launched literally the rest of my career to what I'm doing now, which
That's awesome, man.
so from the day I started, it was either fixing branches or opening new markets.
Yeah.
And so
Right.
my job now is literally just helping my company decide where we're going to put a branch and helping build that branch. And it's 100% just because I learned by doing how to figure out that puzzle piece of what's that book, Who Moved My Cheese? You moved it, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't working this way. And a lot of
Right.
people go, well, let's just keep pounding in this direction. And I'm like, that's stupid. All right, let's start. We need to shift.
We need to
When
shift.
there's a problem, somebody's getting rich.
100%.
And rich is a gross overreach, but just
It's true.
You know what I mean?
It's true. Like even so at the start of the pandemic, you had all of those, all of the things that people thought you needed to do, like, sanitize and all this other stuff. And
right.
we had a large sanitation or someone that made cleaning products.
Sure.
And we had usually on a typical normal week we'd had 60 employees, 80 employees. We had over 200 employees working because there was a demand for that, right?
Yeah.
There was a demand for a lot of different types of products. So those are the industries that we targeted, or that we either happen to have their business or we targeted during the pandemic because we needed to be able to.
Sure. And they
make
could
some
charge
money.
a premium at the time, however short-lived it may be, right?
Yeah.
Like, it pops up.
Yeah.
They capitalize on it. Like, I don't know about you guys, but like the ERC fund, man, all these, with all due respect, but I'm just going to say what it is. But like all these little schemey, like, hey, we'll get you your money right away just for 50%. It's like,
Yeah.
bro, you'll be gone tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, I ain't
Exactly.
listening to anything you're
So
selling.
it's interesting because in our industry, again, during COVID, I had two of the best years I've had in my entire career.
True.
And there's a few different reasons why. It's because the employees disappeared.
Sure.
So they needed us to help them find employees.
Sure.
And somewhere around, they actually, in generalizing a little bit,
Sure.
the employers started doing what they should have done in our industry all
A
along.
long time ago.
Right.
Which is start listening to us about what they needed to do to
How
attract
ironic.
these
What's
employees.
that, Alanis Morissette?
Isn't it ironic?
It's a little ironic.
It's an interesting thing in our
Yeah.
industry because it's such a unique.
Dichotomy.
It's unique in that when I go in and I'm talking to a manufacturer who makes a whatever widget, right? This complicated widget.
Right.
They
X.
do this thing X. They make X.
Yeah.
I know they're an expert at making X.
Yeah.
So if they were to tell me how to make X, I would be like, holy cow, you're a genius. Let me listen to how you make X.
Right.
In my career, I've either placed, don't laugh at me. She said I inflated this number the other day, but I think it's actually about right. I've either directly placed or been responsible for teams of people that have placed over 180,000 people in jobs.
Sure. That's
So-
incredible, by the way.
It's a lot of
Like,
people.
that's incredible.
And so it's a massive data set when it comes to all that.
Yeah.
There's so many complicated. Oh, you know what? I don't mean to go off
But-
topic. Is this Sissy Bar made in Gainesville?
No. That's a Stephen Edward Ritchie original
That's gorgeous.
made for me.
Yeah.
specifically. No.
Dude, that's awesome.
Thank you.
I know that
It's-
we're talking about staffing
No,
and
let's
I
talk
love it,
motorcycles.
but I have been wanting to bring that up the entire pot. For those of you,
yay.
they can all see this, right? Like on
I don't
No,
think
right
they
now I
do.
got you just in.
Okay.
So they've seen it before.
But they've
They
seen it
have.
before. Dude,
Yeah.
the Sissy Bar is gorgeous.
Yeah.
That's cool. With
Yeah.
the, what is that, like a devil's tail? I can't really.
So it's funny.
You have it
Or a
backwards.
snake?
It-
It's a snake.
Dude, that
it's-
thing's badass.
It's funny. All right, so I'm gonna finish one thought and then I'm gonna go.
No, you're good.
I'm
I'm
gonna
sorry.
diverge because that'll take us to where I want to go next.
No,
anyways. All right.
you're fine.
So, what was my point? Was
Staffing 180,000. Your guest was an asshole and totally diverted
what I was
everything.
saying. No, it's fine. That's fine. No, I'm the host. I'm supposed to be retaining my thought, right?
No, you're good, brother.
So what I was saying is that even though that I would never in a million years walk into a company and tell them specifically how to make X,
Right.
everyone thinks they can tell us
Do our
how to do
jobs.
staffing.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks they understand, and
Why do you think that is?
it's because they think it's a judgment call. They think it's a personal thing to them. They
Do you
think that
think
they
it's
can
like-
judge people very well.
Do you ever run up against, because that is really interesting, right? Like you have these preconceived notions of staffing agencies, right? Like from like, and I don't want to use the term low level, right? But let's say there's a guy that's trying to get back on his feet.
Mm-hmm.
He goes and hits up X staffing agency, right? These should not be named. I think initially you're I don't know what the retention is, right? But I'm sure it's not good with some. And then the ones that really, really want it, maybe they get lost in translation. Then you come across like, what we just went through, right? Like what you just went through, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a bunch of people that are like, I swear to God, I'll work. I swear to God, I'll work.
Mhm.
And then it's like, but then they don't show up. And you're
Yeah.
like, dude, like, what do I,
Yeah.
So there's
So you have
damned
that,
if you
right?
do, damned if you don't.
You have that, and it depends on the level of your staffing agency. It depends on the level of service that they're willing to offer and
That makes
deliver.
sense.
Okay,
Yeah.
there are different levels to everything, and there's a price for everything.
Sure.
The problem is when you have a company that's doing a specific thing, and that's what you're supposed to be focused on. You're supposed to be focused on your production levels. You're supposed to be focused on getting your product out the door.
Right.
Who has time to sit there and look at Joe Schmo who didn't show up to work today and have someone right on the back burner to fill his spot?
Right.
Right?
A capable somebody.
Someone that's
Yeah.
able to do the essential functions of the job.
Yeah.
And that's what they don't take into consideration.
Skilled labor.
Exactly.
Too.
Or none. But
Right,
having
right.
the availability of people at your disposal.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what
It's
we
like
do.
this endless Rolodex.
Yeah. That's our supply.
Right.
Our supply is the people that we employ.
Sure.
And we have them and we treat them well. Out of 22,000 staffing agencies in the United States, our service of delivery and expertise is at world-class status. Like
Right.
we're up there with Ritz-Carlton when it comes to people ranking us, our customers and our
Wow.
employees.
That's impressive.
Yes.
That's
So
really impressive.
that means that we've done a great job of understanding our customers and what they need.
Because you listen.
We listen. We don't just say, all right, I'm going to send you somebody
It's not a
that's great.
sales pitch. You're not just walking in there going.
It's very consultative.
Yeah.
It's very consultative. And sometimes we turn down business because it's just not a right
That's
fit.
awesome. That's fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
How often, not to like, but how often would you say on a basis do you guys turn away business?
So, there are some companies, it depends on the company, right? Are you going to
Right.
be a partner? Or are you going to be a dictator?
Yeah. I love that.
So if you're not a partner, then I'm going to be able to charge you a lot
Right.
because you're going to be very high maintenance for me.
Makes sense.
Right? If you are a partner, then we can work something out. It's going to be more trust in the relationship. You're going to listen to me. I'm going to listen to you. And there's going to be a partnership there that's going to last for a very long time.
Paying for goods and a service. Like, I appreciate your consultation.
Correct.
As opposed to like, I know what I've been doing. I've been doing this for 25 years.
Yeah.
My mom has a great saying too, if she's listening, but she always says, oh, you've been doing it for 25 years? Yeah. Doesn't mean you've been doing it right.
that's right.
You know
So
what I mean?
true.
It's a fact.
Yeah.
Sharon, will you do me a favor real quick? Will you touch my face on that camera? For some reason, I'm out of focus. Thank you.
Awesome. That's true, man.
You know, here's the other thing too, and this is a very unpopular thing that I'm getting ready to say.
Let's go. Let's go.
But the reality of it is,
Let's ruffle some feathers, Chuck.
I'm going to ruffle some feathers.
Let's go.
Yeah.
The reality is that sometimes your problems in your employment are built into the way you do business.
100%.
Correct.
And we
Myself included.
have the ability, if you can be honest with yourself about what you're, so for instance, if your company is only offering a certain level of, like, first of all, the job you have within a market is in a bucket of people that are able to do that job. And then based on the factors that impact recruiting, which are, a lot of the standard things that we agree upon, screening, salary, you got the environment, you got the pay, you got the schedule. Those are typically the 5 major ones, right?
Right.
So based on those factors that impact recruiting, each one of them, depending on where you rank within those factors, will drop that bucket down to a lower group of people. So if within that bucket you have forklift drivers that will take a job at $20 to $22 an hour, but your job's 19, they're not in your bucket. So you can't expect me to recruit them. Your bucket is 19 and below.
That's interesting.
Right?
So you use that analogy. So it makes a lot of sense.
It does. So if you think about it, as we go about talking to these clients, we're visualizing the pool of people that are available to fill those jobs, right? So if you go down to the fact that, and again, depending on which factor you rank in, you may reduce your bucket even more.
Right.
An example is, out of the 5 major things that I just mentioned, our industry controls one, which is the screening.
Right.
We control the screening for this person. It doesn't matter how well I screen them. If when they get to your property, one of the other ones, such
Can't
as,
blame me for how they.
right.
I did the best I could.
If say for instance your culture is that you allow that person to just something as simple as sit in a break room for 30 minutes before someone comes and says hello to them, you have just that your culture is deficient, and as a result your bucket goes down. Right. So there's only so many people that will do that job. And the point I'm making overall is that if you're in a bucket where you're paying lower, right? The other thing that we have to take into consideration is if you're paying below market for this job,
Yeah.
you're probably paying below market for every job
single-
along the ladder, meaning that every aspect of your company is going to not have the absolute best person in that job,
Right.
which comes with a lot of hidden taxes whenever it comes to how we recruit and how we do our job.
You know, the hidden tax aspect is huge, just even as like a restaurateur, because it's like you think like you just need bodies, but like even the capable ones maybe. You know, it's just interesting what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's
So-
really interesting.
So here's the thing.
You never know.
Here's
Yeah.
the thing. If you can be an honest client about that, meaning that you realize your bucket is one that's going to cost you 20% in
What's
turnover
your net?
every single week, or it's going to be 70% turnover every single week.
Right.
We do have a solution for that,
right.
right?
Right.
We can actually help you recruit those people every single week, but you can't then hold us accountable
Yeah, hostage.
for the other 4 things that you aren't willing to fix.
Right.
Now, while we're having that
It's an
conversation,
operations issue.
100%.
Yeah.
And so while we're having that conversation with clients, we make a decision as to whether or not they have enough. Because even within that dichotomy, let's say, for instance, you rank really high on culture, really good on pay, terrible on schedule,
Right.
terrible on some other aspect of it.
Mhm.
We may be able to overcome that. So you may fit with the type of people that we want to employ and recruit, right?
Right.
But if you don't, if say for instance, you've only got one, you're nice, but you work them on a continental shift and you pay them $2 below market, right? And it's a hot environment. You don't provide air conditioning.
And it's
Yeah.
also
I
it's
can't overcome
tumultuous
that.
right now too, right? Like you have to figure out what makes the most sense. That's it's interesting to listen to because it's like I'm there was a point in my professional career over the last, not this last year, but like that first year where I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I just here's as much money as I could possibly think to offer you, and just bear with me
Yeah.
until we can figure out whatever tomorrow
Sometimes.
brings. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
Sometimes you have to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that
But the stabilizations made things a little more clear.
It is.
You know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah, it did. But
Yeah.
now it's still up in the air.
Is
for
it?
everyone?
Yeah,
Yeah.
not to
Everyone.
not to drop a huge downer on it though. Our employment problems, and I'm going to shift this.
Like what happened? We had
All right.
2,000 listeners and it went down to 1,000. It's like, wah, wah.
Yeah, you
But
wish.
anyways.
We only have one.
This is a guy
actually
in
have-
Croatia.
We actually have 2 NorCal Refrigeration and
Hey,
Shadow Fiend.
What's
What
up?
up?
Shout out. What's their handle?
NorCal Refrigeration.
Shout out NorCal. What's good?
But no, actually, I think this is a good time for us to shift
Yeah, to
off
shift.
of the staffing.
No.
So
Let's say so. What you brought up
Oh.
the sissy bar, and that's actually going to lead us into talking about
Oh, no.
What do you
the last
ride?
part of it.
what do you
what-
ride, Travis?
anything with 2 wheels and an engine. But no, man, I got a couple sleds, man. I not anything is cool for those listening, man. Chuck and Z, I'm sure you guys know, man, but they got some slick rides, dude.
Oh, thank you,
Thank you.
man. Appreciate that.
And you guys were just telling me that you guys kind of finalized the paint scheme on your new stuff too, right?
She just got her. We got the renders in, and then she actually just got her example. The guy who does our bikes is he paints a skateboard
Yeah,
and like shows like the fade and
like
all
this
that
is
stuff.
how it's gonna look.
Oh my god, dude, that fade! I cannot wait.
Is it a West Coast like paint
It's here,
shop?
Southern Cycle.
Southern Cycle? Wait,
Yeah.
you talking about Sean and Zane?
Yeah, yeah,
Get out of here,
yeah.
bro.
That's who's doing my bike.
Yo,
Yeah.
Don't go over
best in
there.
the business.
Actually,
Hey,
go over
don't-
there.
Go over there and check in on them, how the bike's going. But no, they're doing a great
Yeah.
job on our bike. As a matter of fact, I dropped an extra thing on Sean. I was like, hey, Sean, how hard would it be to like fashion a sword mount on my bike?
Yo, you're right. I've seen that. I looked at the shotgun mount and I'm like, that's not very practical because I'm gonna park it and I just can't do it. I always wanted like I saw Donald Cowboy Cerrone.
Yeah.
He had a Vickless style softail and he had this like Henry that he like side saddled. I'm like, man, that's so
That's
fucking
cool.
That sounds
badass.
so cool.
But at the end of the day, like you're not bellying up anywhere. Like you're not
Nah,
going to a house
nah.
party. You're not. I can't roll into an HOA situation. So.
Mhm.
But yeah, shout out Sean and Zane, man. Salt of the earth, bro.
Yeah, no, they actually have
Those
been.
dudes have fixed like multiple bikes of mine,
Oh,
bro.
that's cool.
They're doing. They're taking good care of us. They've been patient
Yeah.
with us, as I'm sure everyone
Oh.
knows. We're a bit extra, so
Yeah.
we're like very specific at what we're looking for, and Sean has been patient, and actually
Isn't
it's
he
fun.
like, dude? He's the nicest.
He's a nice guy,
like
100%.
the nicest guy.
And it's weird because we were actually going to keep hers very simple, like just a.
What do you mean simple? Like paint?
So we were going to just go.
I really wasn't
yes.
going to do any ton of paint. Like
What
just some
landed you on
lines.
that kind of? And I don't want to butcher
Yeah,
it, but
that's
like
what-
the green bluish. Like what made you like?
oh, that color?
Yeah.
It's an original Harley.
That's
paint.
a Billard teal.
Oh, is that the bill of
Yeah.
teal?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's
what I-
sick.
And she fell in love with that.
I fell in love
color.
with it when they came out with it in 2021. I was like,
Yo, say
that's
less.
the one.
Yeah, lock it. Like you saw it and you knew.
Yeah.
Like right away.
Yeah.
So
That's
we
what's up.
so when we were building the new bikes, she
Yeah.
had to have the Billard teal. And so we were going to do like just maybe like a tiny little bit of accent color on it.
Sure.
And so they sent me that one, but then they also sent me another one that like, hey, here's another concept. And I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
She's going to love it. She's
yeah.
going to love that. And as soon as I showed it to her, she's like, yeah, that's my bike.
Dude.
So yeah, it's gorgeous. And that I honestly, you don't see a lot that really fade that well,
Yeah.
but he did it really, really good.
Bro,
job
he's
on it.
I mean, man, like it's crazy that dude's in our backyard, him and his bro and all of his team, man. But like shout out Southern Cycle, man, Buford. They worked on an 11 soft tail for me, totaled it. They worked on a hardtail Springer for me with I had an El Bruto in it. It was like one of those, I forget whatever, but like, yeah, man, it was just a lot of motor on a small bike.
Yeah.
And then they helped me out on my 2013 Softail Cholo that I got. I mean, dude, those dudes, I mean, they're on it, man. They're
Yeah.
so backed up too, like, because they do such good work. So
Yeah.
like, if you're gonna go there and you want it next day, sure, if it's small.
Right.
Well, you know, it's
But if you're
interesting.
getting real work done, like you want the best, you're gonna have to wait.
There's a lot
have
of
to wait.
amazing painters out there, and
Yes.
there's so many that we were talking to about these bikes. But
Sure.
then
No disrespect to any
no,
painters.
no, no, no,
FYI.
no. We actually know some that are personally that are really, really good, and I love their work.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I just, when I was thinking about it, I really wanted to support someone who was from Georgia.
Yeah.
He does amazing work.
Yeah.
I wanted to support someone who was in the area.
He's so
And,
passionate
yeah,
too, man.
and he's a genuinely good. When I went over there and sat down and talked to him and went through everything, he's a genuinely good guy.
Bro, he'll like, and it's crazy, man. I don't know if you ever like really bent his ear, but like, dude used to live in Alaska and like fly single engine Cessnas and shit. Like he's a certified.
We're gonna have him on
Holy
the
cow.
show. I've actually talked to him about once the bikes
Who,
come
Sean
out.
or
Yeah,
Zane?
Sean.
Yeah, Sean, dude, that dude, it's crazy because I'll be in there and we'll just be chopping it up, and like all of a sudden he's like, man, let me show you what I'm working on. And,
Yeah.
dude, I'm a freaking gearhead.
So
I
next
love
time
that
you're
shit.
there, he'll probably show you what we're working on.
Yeah, man.
So-
So we never. So you have what?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
We're going down
You're
rabbit
always
holes.
like-
No, you're cool. I got
Sorry, that's how it works.
Yeah, ADD, right? So right now I got a 99 Road King, Vikla. I got a Sporty I'm about to chop up, 08, 1200, and then I got a 13 Softail 103,
Okay.
and I think that's it right now.
So did you talk
You
about
have
the chopper?
two more
Oh, and
fingers
then,
on
and then
that
the
hand.
chopper. Yeah, and then the chopper that I'm building
You
currently.
got 5 bikes.
No, four currently. I flip bikes all the time,
Wow.
like all the time.
Yeah.
He's working
And
on
never
a pink
for
chopper
profit.
right now.
A pink chopper.
A
Yeah,
pink
straight
chopper.
up. Yeah, dude. I've never seen a pink chopper before.
Damn.
And Prism Supply's got one.
That's like Billy Madison. Why did you draw the duck blue?
Yeah.
I'd never seen a
I'd
blue
never seen-
duck.
Like 100%, bro. And it's crazy. Time Warp Custom on YouTube. They showed like how to do this water transfer, and that was kind of like the inspiration. Because I don't know how to paint. I don't know how to do shit, like really. And I'm just like, but I'm a firm believer in grab a wrench and figure it out.
Okay.
If I can take it apart,
Yeah.
I can put it back together.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
But I'm always gonna lose my 10 mil. You know what I mean? Like that's just a fact.
Yes.
So
So is it hot pink? Pep-
it's pastel
Like-
pink.
It's like a pastel.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
like pastel. And then I
Like a
threw
baby
on a water decal.
Mhm.
And it was kind of crazy. They so lace.
just like Malibu Barbie.
No, like imagine like Easter brunch.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Kind of
Yeah.
deal. And I figure if anybody like shits on me over it, I'm gonna be like, bro, I got a jockey shift Evo.
I thought
Like,
you had Betty Boop on it.
I do. I have Betty Boop and
Yeah.
Really?
and Jessica Rabbit. Yeah.
Oh,
Those
by
are
the
two
way,
of my
check
favorite
it out.
cartoon characters. She has an
Yo,
autograph.
Jessica, what's
Jessica
good?
Rabbit. Yeah.
She is.
She's my
a
first
babe.
cartoon crush.
She is a babe.
She
Total
was.
I think she was
She's-
everybody's.
She's everybody. Well, the girl from Thundercats. Chitara,
hair?
Cheetah Chara, whatever her name was.
Oh yeah.
You realize, like, when
Oh,
you watch it
wow.
as an
Yeah.
adult, you
I
realize
screwed that up,
she's
so I
naked
scraped it off.
a
That's
lot
badass.
on that
Thank
show.
you.
Like when you
That's really cool.
when you go back and
Appreciate
you
you.
watch Thundercats as an adult,
Thundercats is the shit.
you realize she's naked a lot on that show. But
Wait.
anyways,
For
So-
real?
yeah, just
This
It's just like a skin.
it's like a skin suit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
basically.
So did you paint that?
No. There's a
Oh.
there's a water so I painted the actual like frame.
Okay.
Or excuse me, not the frame, the gas tank
The
and
tank,
the fender. So I was just kind of like playing around with stuff, and I was like,
Oh, it's a decal that you.
it's a water slide.
Okay, gotcha.
Can you show it?
Oh yeah. Well, that I ripped off. But I was just like, like anybody that wants to give me a hard time about it, I'm like, I fundamentally don't care.
Who cares?
I just think it's awesome.
Yeah. No,
You
it's,
know what
it's
I
cool
mean?
looking. I told you, I said she likes Betty Boop. That's why.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
And I found like this really like sexy, like, I wanted something like I wanted the bike. I guess the whole thing was like to make it sexy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
You
is
know what I mean?
Chitara.
Yeah.
Throttle
Chitara.
Fiend.
Yeah. So that'll actually bring us something you mentioned earlier. I did want to bring up because you said something about Kill Bill. And
Yeah.
Z and I are huge Kill Bill fans. As a matter of fact, the reason why this has a snake on it, you can't see it right here, but it's called Cottonmouth.
Oh,
So we actually name all of our motorcycles after Kill Bill characters.
you're kidding.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You didn't know that?
No,
I thought that's why you were like trying to get on the Kill Bill wagon.
No, I'm just a big nerd.
Yeah.
Like, you got a Black Mamba?
I love
Her
that.
first bike was
So my
Black Mamba.
first bike was an
Was
Iron
that the
883.
That yes, I did some research.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That was Black Mamba.
So that was Mamba. Okay.
I
All
miss
right.
her.
So what have the bikes been since, if you don't
All
mind
right.
me asking?
So I had the Iron 883. He had the V-Rod muscle.
Right.
So Black Mamba and then his
Beatrix.
Beatrix. So I have
Okay.
the code name and he has their real name.
Oh, that's so cool.
But except
That's
for
so
these last two that we did. But Cottonmouth was Oren Ishii's code name. So then his bike was Oren.
All right. So we just super nerded out.
100%.
I love
100%.
it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
That's great.
And now my road glide is California
Okay.
Mountain
Yeah.
Snake
Yeah.
for L driver.
Okay.
The girl.
So you guys are like super Kill Bill.
super Kill
Like
Oh,
Kill
we love
Bill through and through.
like, for sure.
That's crazy.
Tarantino, Kill
Yeah,
Bill,
Tarantino
all
all
that stuff.
day.
Like my favorite movie by Tarantino is True Romance. He didn't direct it; he just wrote it.
Okay.
But it's
All
a
right.
great movie. But yeah, my current bike is called Kiddo.
Yeah.
So Beatrix's last name.
That's wild,
Yeah.
man. So let me ask you this, like both of you guys, this is a blanket statement, but like that forever bike, do we have a name that you're just not going to touch?
This will be my second Kiddo.
Yeah. I'm actually doing Cali 2.0.
Okay. So
On the new
the
bike.
names that you chose are technically like secretly like your favorite names?
Yeah, and
Kinda
I
deal.
think like on this one, I'm doing on my cover, I'm doing Kiddo
Right.
Volume 2.
Okay.
So if I ever do get another
On your
bike
derby cover.
on my derby cover,
That's
I'll do
dope.
Kiddo Volume 3 or whatever.
Yeah.
That's really dope.
And for
Yeah.
mine, because I don't know, it's a kind of twofold. So the color, the blue,
Sure.
and then we're doing like, that fade, it's going to be like a California sunset.
Love that.
So it matches the California in the name.
Love that.
I'm from California originally. I was born
Right.
in California,
Okay. Whereabouts?
Gardena,
Gardena.
Which
Is
is
that
like-
NoCal, SoCal? Where's that?
South Cal.
South
It's
Cal.
close to LA, like
Okay.
right outside of LA.
Okay. Gotcha. Forgive me.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
Nobody really.
How dare you not know
unless you
exactly
know.
where Gardena
My
is?
geography today.
Jeez, man.
Ah,
That's why I usually say
flips
LA.
the table.
Yeah.
Screws up the whole podcast.
I'm done.
studio.
He's never coming back.
Oh
I know.
God, that guy.
But then my license plate is Cali Z. But then it also if you say it, it sounds like Khaleesi.
Okay,
Like
all
Game of
right.
Thrones.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
So
All the parts of my Road King are from straight SoCal, because I'm in that Vicla scene. I love
Okay.
the way Viclas look.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like I think the reason I like my Road King so much, man, is my buddy Derek that I shouted out earlier. One night he had a few too many at the bar, and I was like, all right, bro, I'll pick you up. And he was like beyond. And I'm like, all right, cool, man. I'm gonna throw you in a cab. I'll get your bike home. Because he was all like in that zone, like get my bike home.
Mhm.
I'm like, all right, man, we've all been there. I got you.
Mhm.
Whatever, no problem. Take his bike home. He has an '08 Road King, kind of modded out, whatever. I ride it back and I'm like, yo, like this is one of the smoothest little rides I've ever. I've had everything.
Really?
You name it, man. I've had everything outside of a V ride. But my buddy has a V-Rod. Those things get up and go. I've had, you name it, I've had it. And I take but I've never ridden a Road King. Fat boys all day,
Yeah.
you know, road glides, street glides,
Yeah.
Dynas, street bobs, you name it. I take this thing home and I'm just like, yo, this is smooth. I like this. And then I started shopping the next day, got this thing and just made it my own. It was a divorce bike. So I got it on a premium, low miles, and just changed the fluids, changed the spark plugs, and just started going, well, I'm going to change this. And shout out CMC Customs. I don't know if you guys ever worked with them or.
I've heard of them.
Oh man, they're man, dude's awesome, bro. So shout out CMC. Shout out I forget, my destroyer was from oh man, I can't think of it right now. But basically, my sissy bar, I had this whole like Carlini setup, like nice and smooth, old school gangster, just gangster through and through.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, man, right? All of a sudden, man, I got the CMC El Rey backrest.
Okay.
And it comes to a
That's
point.
the one you want, babe.
It is. I want the pointed one, the tall one.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
No, dude, solid.
Get it.
And it fits. And what's cool is, because mine's a 99, they haven't really come out with the luggage rack yet.
Yeah.
But the luggage rack matches it. Dude, it looks so badass.
Yeah.
But I looked at that and I go, fuck. Like, I got to get rid of the car. I don't want the gangsters no more.
Yeah.
So I went pointed everything, dude. Like, I went pointed bull bars. I
Okay.
went pointed everything. And
Crash bars.
yeah, all of it, dude. Crash bars are pointed. Like, I spent way too much money on all of it. But it's
Yeah.
funny because, like, I never wanted that. Because I have a show bike.
Mm-hmm.
And when I ride down, like, people kind of look at it and they're like, yo, that thing looks good. And
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I actually have it for functionality.
Yeah.
Well, you know, to bring this around, I'll tell you how I found your spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, over the top burger bar.
Yeah.
I was had a client on your road, and I was super hungry, right? And I was rolling up and down that road trying to find something.
Would you see the sled outside?
I saw your bike.
Stop playing.
I saw your bike outside.
That's
and I was
awesome,
like,
bro.
I was like,
That's so cool.
that's a good spot. So there's a bike outside. Actually, there was two. It was yours and someone else's. And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I rolled in. I said, I walked up and I was like, hey, by the way, whose bike is that out there? And they said, oh, it's the owner's. And I was like, I got to meet that dude. So I ended up, that's how I found your spot. And dude, it's been great getting to know you. I've enjoyed
Appreciate
it.
it, man.
We just did an hour and a half.
Yeah.
I wanna
Damn, did
thank
we
you
really go that long?
Yeah, it feels like
Man,
we
that's
just
crazy.
started. Yeah, man.
No,
but,
no worries, man.
But I really want to thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for
if you don't
having
mind, plug everything, do your social media,
Yeah, man.
all that stuff. Go ahead.
Just yeah, man, guys, follow us overthetopburger.com, OTT Burger, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, you know, you name it, man, we're on it. So
Yeah.
I appreciate you having us on.
No, thank you so much. And Z, hit the like, go do all your.
Make sure you like and subscribe.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for joining the podcast. We really appreciate the interaction. Super excited. We got some great guests coming up.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. Stay to social media, and we'll let you know. We're also going to go ahead and start actually using our Chuck and Z Instagram to post stuff, so that we'll have a separate spot for the podcast stuff. But
you're going to be running it because
I think actually our new producer will be assisting
that's
with
right.
us on
Shout
our
out.
social
That's
media.
right.
Shout out.
shout
Yeah,
out
shout out
to
to
Miss
Miss-
Sharon Klein.
Yeah. So our next podcast will actually just be us and Sharon talking about, you know, the show and welcoming her to the show, and then she's gonna take up doing some producing for us.
Young Sharon.
Young Sharon. All right, guys.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. Stay safe. Shiny side up.
Yeah. Thanks for coming and watching. Yay.
Oh, it was awesome, man.
Yeah, great show. Y'all did a great job, brother.
Good
You did an
job.
Dude, it was so
amazing
funny,
job.
man. I got a little stage fright at the beginning. I was like, Travis Snap out of it.
Oh, you did great, bro. You did
You're
great.
fine.